Welcome to the Weird Octopus Podcast, a series of conversations with the humans who showed up before there was a map. I'm Perry, the founder of the Octopus Movement, and I believe nonlinear thinking is not just a way of creating possibilities, it's really a way of being in the world. Each week, I speak with founding members from our global human mycelium to explore who they are, why they think differently, and how they're shaping a future that cannot be built in straight lines. Let me introduce you to today's guest. Today's guest is David Sals. Do I pronounce that correctly, David?
Yeah.
I always say David to you. I never say your last name. David Sals. And David is a strategic technology and business leader who works in a space where ideas need to become reality. I think that's your thing, David. He has spent his career bridging technology and business, moving around and across product management, technology leadership, coaching, consultancy, sales, marketing, operations, and team development. His work is about taking complexity, pressure, scattered priorities, and ambitious goals and turning them into something people can actually act on. What I find interesting about David is that he combines analytical rigor with creative thinking, and that's not always easy. Some people can see the numbers, some people can see the people, and some people can see the system, but David seems to see everything and moves in between everything. He has worked with cross functional teams, geographically distributed teams, custom technology solutions, Salesforce, WordPress, OKRs, I don't know what that is, KPIs, that I know, leadership development, mentoring, operational excellence. But underneath all of that is something more human, helping teams collaborate better, think clearer, and build environments where innovation, accountability, and continuous improvement can actually happen. So, today I want to explore the octopus in David. How does someone who is result driven also be creative? And how does someone who works with systems not become trapped in those systems? And how do we bridge the gap between technology, business, and human intelligence? David Souls, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here. And yeah, I wonder about the answers to all of those questions as well. Those
You
are
wonder as well, what the hell is this?
how do we do that? And for me, really, it comes down to people.
Yeah,
Technology is just a tool to ultimately help people connect with each other in one way or another.
that's also how I see you. I remember the first time we met, thanks to Optimatch, and
Yep.
immediately there was this people connection between us, and it wasn't about Optimatch or the Octopus movement or the things that we wanted to do together. That was not what it's about. I think what the connection was between us was a lot of space to be who we are, and that
Mhm.
connected well.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the space I try to live in, is meeting people where they are, understanding uh, what their needs are, what their wants are, and then coming up with solutions to try
and
to
then and then solve the puzzle maybe.
and solve the puzzle. Absolutely. And I love puzzle solving. Even when I was a little child, my
Did you
parents
just
taught
find
me
your thing, David?
my thing.
We were just talking before this started about your thing. What is your
Yep.
thing? And I think that's your thing. It's solving the puzzle.
Perhaps, perhaps. I do. Yeah, I'm very interested in solving the puzzles, and especially solving the puzzles of people,
Yeah.
understanding people, and understanding myself through my interactions with
We're
people.
done, David. This is
That's
it.
it.
Thank you everybody for
That's my
watching.
thing.
We
That's my thing.
we found it.
Yeah,
No,
it's
no,
funny because I've never felt like I have a thing. I've jumped around so much in my life,
Mhm.
from one thing to another. I've done a lot of work with computers, but I've sold insurance. I've sold, different. I've sold computers. I've worked in HR. I've worked in theater, all kinds of different things, and I've never felt like, oh, this is my path.
This
I'm
is
not. I mean,
this is the perfect this is the perfect approach to question number one. What
yes,
is the octopus in you? And I think
yes.
that's why I interrupted you, because I didn't. I want to ask this question quickly before you continue with this, because this is the answer as well. I think,
I think you're
what
right.
is your octopus in your side, in
Yeah,
yourself?
yeah. So what is my octopus? I mean, actually, when you first asked that question, and when I've seen you ask that question of others, the first thought I had was I'm an exceptional hugger. Although if I had 8 arms, I think I would be better. But also, yeah, very much flexible, adaptable, and curious. And I think it's the curiosity more than anything that keeps pulling me in different directions. I'll meet someone and they're doing something interesting, and I'm like, oh, I want to do that. I want to learn more about that. And then I find myself on a path. So I've built a dating service. I've worked in virtual reality company. I just find people that are doing something really interesting, and I say yes. And I think my thing to a large degree is around connecting with people and saying yes and being in that place of curiosity. And
Is that curiosity also what makes you an exceptional good hugger? I'm not kidding. I'm
perhaps
not kidding, but it's isn't that a thing when you have sincere curiosity with people that
yes,
the hug becomes different?
yes, yeah. Well, it's very much for me about being present with the
Hmm.
person, yes, and meeting that person where they are,
Yeah,
and listening to where that person is at, because not everybody wants a hug in this
that's
moment.
also true. What do you do when when you want? I've had that once. You want to give someone a hug, and
Yeah,
that person is like, "Okay, we're hugging," and then you feel it's not that person's play. It's not that person's default mode
yeah.
thing to do. What do you do? What becomes it uncomfortable, or is it just a quick hug and then, oh, I'm sorry?
It comes down to assumptions, I think, and
Hmm.
and it's also a large part of how I approach technology and product and everything is recognizing when I'm making assumptions or when someone else is bringing assumptions in. So I try not to make an assumption that somebody wants a hug.
Hmm.
I feel into the energy. I see where someone is at. If I'm not sure, I ask. It's a very simple tool that a lot of people don't use, is to just check in and
Yeah,
say, hey, where are you at right now? But yeah, uh, I think there's an art to really listening both to the words being said and the energy that someone is bringing. And if you don't know where someone's at, just ask them. And so that's, for me, a hug isn't just the physical action, but it's that whole interaction
yeah.
with people from just that initial meeting and reading their energy and feeling into where someone is at.
Do you
And then
also
meeting
have
them there.
that with Zoom? Because we're doing a lot of meetings
Yes.
online these days, and thank God, I'm very happy with that because I can meet people all over the world. Um, these assumptions, are they um, easier or more difficult with online meetings? What do you
Mm,
think?
easier, more difficult with online meetings. Um, I think it's easier to just with online meetings to jump right into let's get things done.
Yeah,
With
very effective sometimes, right?
It can be very effective, but
Yeah.
yeah, when everybody's sitting around in an office together, there's a lot of downtime where you're just connecting and you're talking and you're getting to know each other and you're talking about things that have nothing to do with work. And when you schedule a Zoom meeting, this is most of my day. Most of my life is just Zoom meeting, Zoom meeting, Zoom meeting. And when you're scheduling Zoom meetings, there's this desire, okay, we've got half an hour and we need to get all these things done. So let's just launch into it. And because of that, because you don't have this space to just connect and check in a lot of the times, people come in with their agenda and their assumptions about this is what we need to do, this is how we need to do it. And it's very easy then for two people to be in a meeting thinking they're communicating, but they're not actually communicating with each other
Yeah.
because they both have their filters on with their assumptions. So a lot of the work is to say, wait a minute, there's a disconnect happening here. And so you're going in this direction and I'm going in this direction, and I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to go with you over here and see where that path leads, and then see if that's where we want to go, and maybe we come back, or maybe we keep going that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, for me, that's maybe the equivalent, that's a Zoom hug,
Yeah.
if you will, because I'm not just going, I'm taking space to just connect with you and understand you.
Because I'm guessing if you're good in solving the puzzle and you're connecting a lot of elements together to get somewhere, and this is for a high value for companies to work with you as well, right? There's a product launch, there's something happening, and everything
Yes.
needs to be aligned. um, do you think so? It can be very effective to be on Zoom, to have online meetings, but it's also a form of measurement immediately. You know who the host is, you know what time, you know that the meeting will take 45 minutes. So there are a lot of measurements in play. And if I read well what you're writing and what you're saying on LinkedIn and whatever, then these measurements can kill innovation, can kill creativity in getting things done. Um, how do you work with that? Because for me, it feels like yes, you're able to organize this all very well, um, because you can see everything. But
Yeah,
on the other hand, the human element to it is also important. So
absolutely.
how do you manage that?
Um, it's very fluid for me, honestly. I will say I use a lot of humor, and so I'm always the person cracking jokes in the meeting, just random whatever pops into my head. Trying, and part of that is just who I am. I love adding play to the environment. Part of that
Hmm.
also is to keep bringing people back to connection and out of agenda a little bit. Um, I think it's important to come away from the meeting with your next action, with your plan, with your solution or whatever. But it's more important to have everybody feel connected, have everybody feel aligned at the end of the meeting, even if nothing else gets solved in that meeting. And so
I think with these kind of meetings, always it could have been an email, right?
yes.
And a joke is not an email. I think the connection between people and really connecting with each other and have some fun and do something unexpected is so much more valuable in a meeting than
Absolutely.
just the checklist where I always think that could have been a meeting. Don't
Yeah, yeah.
don't
No,
don't do this. Yeah.
it's true. If the only thing we get out of it is to just be on the same page at the end, then I wish we had just done an email.
Have you ever been felt lost in translation? Because you love writing, you've written a screenplay, a book. It's all very creative and in a space of art.
Yes.
Um, do you ever feel lost in translation from that perspective to the business world, where you know, in my language, where there is a lot of linear thinking?
Yes. Well, I feel like that actually is at the core of my role, is to be the translator, and to bridge that. A lot of the work that I do is around bridging uh, the people who speak the in technology world, who speak tech, who know what an OKR is or a KPI or all of these
Yeah, what
things.
is an OKR? What is that? I saw it on your LinkedIn. It's like, what is that? I will put it there.
OKR is just a different kind of requirement that basically is more of a stretch goal as opposed to specific measurable.
Ah,
But it's just different business language. Um, but the I think the key is to be able to uh, keep everyone engaged. It's okay if people are not necessarily, uh, if people have different agendas, that's okay, because some
Hmm.
people are very much going to be let's just get it done. I want to move quickly. I want to have the solution. Some people want to be more in the creative space and thinking about. I'm somebody who loves to explore ideas, and so I have that recognition that not everybody wants to sit in the exploration with me. Some people want to just solve. Let's solve it and move on.
I've
Being
heard
able to
someone. Yeah.
be in these different spaces with people, meet people
Hmm.
again where they're at, is a big part of this, and being the translator between these different modes.
I noticed you triggered me with different agendas. So humans, how
Yeah.
interesting, right? And
Yes.
they're humans with agendas, with different agendas, with hidden agendas. And I remember so well talking to a talent scout at a huge a VC company in San Francisco. He is an octopus, weird as hell, and he said, especially when I have a meeting with only very linear people, the difficulty with all the hidden agendas
Hmm.
is tremendous.
Yes.
And when I have a meeting with octopi, with nonlinear thinkers, with different thinkers, with creative minds, it's so much more normal. And he said, I'm not saying normal because I'm weird myself, but normal in a human connection perspective.
Yes.
That it's so much more normal to have a group of weirdos rather than a group of linear business types with a lot of different and sometimes hidden agendas.
Yes.
I
Well,
can see that. I'm a visual thinker. I can see it immediately. He said
it is
backstabbing is happening with the linear guys, and with the creative team, it's different. Do you have that same experience, or is how do
absolutely,
you see that?
absolutely. Hidden agendas block connection
Yeah.
because we're focused on getting what we want instead of connecting with the other person. And so, wherever possible, I try to identify those. I try to get those out in the open because once they're out in the open, once they're not hidden, they're not a blocker anymore. Then it's fine. It's like, oh, this is what you want.
You do
Let's
that sometimes, like
yeah,
there's a hidden agenda here, guys. Let's
absolutely.
review.
Or
Oh, really?
sometimes it's just okay. We're not getting anywhere, so there's something in the way. So
Hmm.
let's take a step back and let's go around the room and ask, what is your agenda? What are you expecting out of this? What do you need?
Hmm.
Sometimes it's as simple as that.
Yeah. And
Sometimes it's
people give answer when you give them a question, right?
yes,
How
absolutely,
fascinating is that? You just have to ask, and they will
absolutely.
tell you. Yeah.
And it's sometimes it feels like a trigger. You did an interview with Teresa Yonikawa
Yep.
recently, and she was talking about meeting someone, and you get this tingling feeling, you get these butterflies, and it's like, oh, there's something really interesting here, you
Hmm.
know, and it's that moment. I There's another equivalent, which is where you're meeting someone and they just push your buttons and they're just like, there's something about this person that just annoys me, and
Wh-
I and that's that hidden agenda that you're experiencing, and sometimes that agenda just you don't know what it is, but something feels wrong. And for me, it's that's like a tingle too. It's like, oh, I have something to learn from this person who's pushing my buttons. There's some insight about myself that I can get, or some insight about this dynamic that I can get. And I find myself drawn to those people to be like, okay, let's figure out what's there. Let's tease this apart. And that's very uh, that's a key part for me of that dynamic of these hidden agendas is, oh, I'm feeling something that's off and I want to understand that, so I'm going to dive in with this, and I'm going to figure out who you are and what's driving you.
Because when there's so much focus on getting the result, let me see if I can understand what you're saying. If you have someone in the team that is so driven, which is not a bad thing, but
Absolutely.
when there is an idea of there's only one way to get the result and it's this way,
Yes.
and there's no space for anything else,
Yeah.
then I feel that it becomes interesting for you to unravel everything and create some space in that journey so other people can join,
Yes.
rather than everything is tight underwear and um, I don't know if I can say that here, but that's what I just say. But everything feels tight, right? There's only
Yeah.
one, and that for me is the trigger when I always get a little bit difficult. Like, okay, there's no space.
There's no space, right?
There's nothing what we can do. There's only one direction, and that's fine. But there needs to be more, otherwise we cannot connect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So when you find that where it's like, okay, there's just one path, then what is the story behind that? What is the fear that's driving that, or the need that's driving that, that has this person say, okay, I need this thing, and this is the only way I'm going to get it. So I have to control the space to get this thing that I want. And so if you can understand the story that is driving that, then you can start to create the space that you're looking for and say, oh, here's what you need. What about this? Could this give you what you need? What about that? And you start to open up the space that way.
What do you think the story is in many of the occasions?
Um, I think this story often is based on very young experiences where needs weren't met, and somebody says, okay, I can't rely on other people to get my needs met. I
Yeah.
have to control. I have to make it happen the way that I see it if I'm going to get my needs met. It's usually something like that, or I've tried it with people and they let me down, and so I can't rely on other people in that way. Or uh, the flip side of that is I've been very successful when I've just driven and I've made the decisions, and that's the secret of my success. And now that's my secret formula, and I'm always going to do this because
That's
I
my
know
secret sauce. This
that's
is
my
how it.
secret sauce.
and
Exactly.
and, and people, of course, accept that when there's success,
Yes.
in whatever definition you want to see success. But
Yes.
right, there's a track record, so like, okay, let's deal with this sauce because we want to be successful altogether, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so once you have, whether it's the fear based, I can only depend on myself, or the success based, whenever I drive, then we win.
Hmm.
Either way, if you accept that that's the story and that's the truth, then it puts you on this very linear path where you
Yeah.
have to follow that every time in order to feel like you're going to be successful. And
Okay.
so questioning truth is part of it, and
Yeah.
say, okay, is that really the truth, or is that just what you've experienced so far?
Yeah. Let's ask a complete other question.
Okay.
What are you curious about in today's world?
What am I curious about? I'm curious about everything and everyone. Um, you mentioned OptiMatch earlier, so we OptiMatch is an assessment that helps understand people's motivations, and I love assessments uh, in general. I've created many of them, but the assessment can't just be a here's where you are, but also a tool for going somewhere. For learning, for
And
following a
we
path.
use that way in the octopus movement.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
commercial time now, but I'm going to put the link in the comments so people can try it out. I think what is so cool with the OptiMatch test is it's just a few questions. It goes very fast. We get the results and we link you to one of the founding members. And thanks to OptiMatch, the the likelihood of meeting someone that can become a friend
yes.
is big, is huge.
Mm,
It's there, and that makes it a lot of fun. So I
it
will
is
put
very
the
fun.
link in the description.
Yeah.
and people can do it for free, and you just meet a founding member of the Octopus movement, which is a lot of fun anyway. So I would do that if I were you. Um,
So I'm curious about where people are and where they're going.
yeah.
And I love this idea of being able to quantify it in some way that's useful to people, that gives them tools. And so I spend a lot of time in that space, just exploring that with different kinds of assessments, but also just conversations in general. I love to get to know people and understand where they are and where they're going.
Is there something? This may be a difficult question or an impossible question, but in doing all these assessments, and you're looking at relationships, at humans, at connections from a specific perspective, from a model point of
Hmm.
view, you simplify something that is very complex so
Yes.
you can understand. It's a way of looking at things. Is there still an element of humans or human connections that is not been able to capture in a model yet by
Mm.
assessments that you would say, I would love that. I think Optimatch did a very good case in that likelihood of friendship in
Hmm.
finding that. Sorry that I explained it that way, but that's how I see Optimatch.
Yeah.
And you can use Optimatch for many other
Sure.
um, perspectives as well, where you client and coach and make the perfect combination. But is there is there still an element where you say that I wish that there was some kind of model that could capture this specifically?
Mm. It's interesting. There are so many leadership models, and I'm still playing around to try to find the perfect leadership model, which not only tells you what kind of a leader you are, but also where the opportunities are for growth and what the path is for growth. If you want to expand yourself more in terms of your vision, or if you want to expand yourself more in terms of the way you connect with others or whatever. An assessment that actually has the tools built into it to grow. And I'm not satisfied with what is out there. So that's one. Um,
Good one.
and what's that?
It's a very good one.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you that from all the leadership models and all these leadership books, and they're all fantastic in a way,
Yeah.
but it almost feels like that big puzzle that we were talking about in the beginning, that the the final puzzle hasn't been made for leadership.
Yeah. And one of the things I've done is I've been a coach, and I've coached people who were individual contributors and are moving into a manager position, having to learn to uh, feel satisfied with the product that other people are creating instead of getting to have their hands on everything.
Hmm.
You build uh, kind of that vicarious uh, productivity experience, and that's a real challenge for a lot of people, learning to make that transition and learning to let go of the control and stuff like that. And so that's something that's not really talked about in a leadership model, is learning uh, to feel a sense of fulfillment from other people's work, and being, we talk about servant leadership, being that person that lifts other people up rather than the person that is driving everything and making things happen directly.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
From all the people, sorry, this is a cliche question,
yeah.
forgive me for something so ridiculous, but from all the amazing leaders you have met, which
Mm.
one stands out? You don't have to say a name if you don't want to, but is there someone where you say immediately, yeah, that's leadership for me, that is really close to perfection? Because it's a very difficult job, I think.
It is a very difficult job. Um, I years ago I participated in a men's group called Cornerstones, and there were actually two people that led this, but one who created most of the work, named David Rubine, and
Hmm.
he was very inspirational to me. And part of it was uh, it's a lot of where my own leadership comes from. He was always wanting to understand people and meet them where they were at and follow them on their path. And so his leadership was in many ways following. And then when he could really understand where someone is at, then he could understand how to help them to get to the next place. But
Hmm.
you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you're starting.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why I like assessment so much, is it helps you to understand where you're starting also. But he was very inspirational to me as a leader, uh, because really he wasn't trying to make us like him. He was trying to make us be as fully realized ourselves as we could be.
More of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. What is? I have two more questions. We're already, it's already
Oh
more
wow,
than 30 minutes.
amazing.
I have two final questions for you.
Okay.
Um, to end the conversation on leadership, which I think we can easily go into another
Oh yes.
episode just on leadership. That would be fun, by the way. Um, what do you think? What do you think? Something is there to unlearn for a lot of leaders?
To unlearn.
Yeah.
Um, we started out talking about curiosity.
Hmm.
And I think when you're in a leadership position, there's this pressure to know the answers. And I think unlearning knowing the answers,
Yeah.
unlearning this belief that as a leader, you have to be the one to solve everything and to know everything, and to be in this place of curiosity
Yeah.
more is really a key.
Beautiful. Okay. Final question.
Yeah.
You can whisper a sentence in everybody's ear at the same time in their own language. What would it be?
Uh, that that's a dangerous one for me. If I could do that all the time, I probably would end up like Wormtongue from the Lord of the Rings, where I'd be whispering all kinds of different messages in people's.
Wouldn't that be fun, by the way?
But it would be dangerous. It would be
Yes.
dangerous. Okay, I have two.
Okay.
I have a serious one and a silly one.
Okay.
Um,
First, the serious one.
yeah, so the serious one is, and this was, we mentioned David Rubin. This was a message I got from him. It was very profound for me. Um, and the message is, there's nothing that you need to do or to be to deserve love. There's nothing broken, nothing to fix, nothing to prove. You deserve love just as you are. And that was very profound for me.
Hmm. That's a very good sentence to whisper in everybody's ear at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine the whole world hears this
Yeah.
at the same time?
Because so many of us think that we're broken in some way and we need to be
Oh, yes.
fixed. We need to, yeah.
Yeah. What's the silly one?
The silly one is reincarnation is real. Everybody comes back and no one gets to choose who or where. And the reason, I think if I whispered that, people wouldn't believe me. But if I could whisper that and know that people would believe me, I think it would change everything, because people would stop treating others as others. People would take care of the planet. If you knew you could come back anywhere, anytime, we would be thinking more about the future. We'd be
And
thinking
and
more
and you
about,
would come back to that person that you're so disliking right now,
yeah,
and
or
that could be your next life,
that could be your next life. And if
right?
people really believed that, I think we would all treat each other differently.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the serious one.
I just wanted to say it's not that silly, I think. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, David,
Yeah,
not
thank you.
just
This was
for
very
being
fun.
here at the podcast, but also as a founding member in the Octopus movement. I love that. And if you're listening and you feel a spark, please follow it. Nonlinear thinking is not a strategy, it's a kind of love, and it grows where we share it. Thank
Mm.
you. Thank you for watching us, and see you next time. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Perry.